interview day came, I went in. There were so many long queues, I got nervous. My time came, I went into the counter. Like I thought it was going to be like an interrogation, sit in this side, the other person sits on the other side, so they talk to you. I went in there and it was like a bank teller window. What surprised me is like the interview took like 40 seconds or so. Before I was done answering what I'm going to do, the visa officer told me your visa has been approved. From then, like I was surprised, so easy like that. From the comfort of my home, I had connected to people in Harvard, Stanford, Oxford. These were minds and brains that helped me know how the world around me is, the standards that have been set there in the world. And it's like, when you're going for these opportunities, it's like you're going to war. And in war, you have to have good preparation and you have to have weapons. It's very hard for you to win the scholarship war without weapons. And by the weapons, I mean like after the month of January had elapsed and I had not gotten any feedback. So I contacted this coordinator. He wrote back immediately, like he told me, sorry that we had so many applicants than the positions and unfortunately you've not been selected. I remember that time I crushed me, my heart was broken. It was like an opportunity that I had gotten and the opportunity had been taken away. Hi friends, welcome to the very first episode of our show where we dive into stories that shape us. Today, I'm opening up about a journey that took me across borders, both physically and emotionally. Get ready to dive deep into how I made it abroad. But this is not just any story, it's a tale of resilience, almost giving up, and ultimately seizing an opportunity that changed my life. By the end of this episode, I promise you'll walk away with invaluable lessons. This is not for everyone, but for the few. Let's dive into it. My journey begins back in my third year of my undergraduate. That is when I started contemplating on how is life going to be after I finish university. Some of these third world countries, they are not, the job availability for graduates who have finished university is very low and the competition is very high in that there are so many qualified people to do these jobs. That is when now I started to look at how am I going to get the job, and do I really have the connections that it takes to get these jobs. So I started opening social media platforms. That is when I opened my LinkedIn account and my Facebook account. The reason why I started opening up these accounts is that these are the platforms that you can easily reach people who have higher positions in different companies and who live very far away from you from the comfort of your phone or your computer in either your living room or your place where you live. So I started building up these connections, but back then now I was just trying to do it because it was towards the end of my third year. Now then my fourth year came, and when we were in the second semester, the first semester was over in my fourth year, and before we could go into the final semester, the COVID-19 pandemic came in and we were forced to stay at home. So it was during the COVID-19 pandemic where I had a lot of time, and it came as a blessing to me. And though COVID-19 came with most of the disadvantages where there were so many deaths in the world and people suffered different conditions, but for some people it brought about the advantages in that we got to spend more time in front of computer. And that is when I now started talking to very many people who are in different positions in different companies, because in LinkedIn you can inbox people, you can get their emails and try to write to them telling. By then I was not aiming to get a position to come and be a graduate student in the United States. My undergraduate major was in microbiology. So what I was looking at is I wanted to finish my undergraduate and then I get these a good a good position in the field of science, maybe to be a researcher in Africa CDC, or in Kenya we have got Kenya Medical Research Institute, and these other so many research institutes. So I was reaching out to these people via LinkedIn or via their emails so that they could give me like a position or an internship in their companies. So through those connections, I was trying to build and reaching out to these people, and then now these people were also trying to like send me positions. They tell me keep on applying, and I connected to one lady who we talked with, and she told me that she helps people in seeking opportunities, and she helps people in finding some of the opportunities. So I was talking to her, and she was telling me that she has helped people write documents, write good CVs. So she told me that if I'll ever need like help in writing those documents before I make an application, I can reach out to her. So from then we kept on the connection. Then one day she sent me like a scholarship opportunity, which is the Rhodes Scholarship. By then I did not know what is Rhodes Scholarship, so I opened up like this scholarship. I opened up the website after she had sent me the document, and I was trying to look at the qualifications to, or the eligibility criteria towards this scholarship. So from then I was curious, what is the Rhodes Scholarship? And from our country, the Rhodes Scholarship was only like taking 2 people. So that is when I was diving deep into the Rhodes Scholarship website. I learned that they have got like a page in their website where they have listed the applicants who had been successful in getting these scholarships from the previous years. So from then now I looked at the applicants who are there, those who are from my country, which is Kenya, and I quickly looked at their names, I read their profiles, and then I quickly went to LinkedIn, because this is one of the platforms where you can easily reach these kind of people. So I quickly went to LinkedIn, and in LinkedIn I searched for one of them who had won it. Was it like back in 2017 or so, or 2018? I can't remember well. And I wrote down his name in LinkedIn, and the profile popped up. So the profile popped up, and I requested to connect with this guy, and the guy accepted my connection. I was happy. So the next day I looked into the profile of the others who had won in 2018, 2019, and 2020 then. No, 2019, yeah. So I connected to like 3 of them, and I was writing to them. And by then I did not know like how to write to people, so I was writing to them, and I was saying hi, and they could leave me on red, and they couldn't answer. And then there's one of them who responded to me and told me that when you're writing to somebody, write what you want, and tell them, because people do not have time to read and write to you back, hey, and then the conversation goes back and forth. So he told me, you greet them, and you write what you want them to help you, so that you can save on other people's time. So I wrote to this one guy because I had read on the Rhodes Scholarship. By then I did not know like applications towards these opportunities needs a lot of effort, needs you to put in a lot of effort. So I thought it was something that I'm going to fill up like a questionnaire, or something like just filling up a document and submitting it, because I had read like you need to submit this and that documents, so many writings. So I asked this person who had won it, why is it like you need to apply to this, you need to apply to that, you need to write this, you need to write that? And he told me that those are the requirements. You cannot, there's no way, there's no shortcuts there's no shortcut like you can go about so that you don't submit anything that is being asked. You need to submit it. So the guy told me that you have to go through the whole process. So I told him it is good, but people like when checking on the qualification, I had qualified in almost everything, but I did not get first class, which is which was one of their requirements. Like you need to be in the first class, and in the GPA it's like having a GPA of 3.6 or so, and my GPA was lower than that, so I wasn't in the first class category, so that one left me out of this scholarship. So I asked this guy, I don't qualify because my GPA is lower than the required. So he told me, like, if your GPA is lower, try this one. That is when he sent me the Knight Hennessy scholarship, which is from Stanford. So I was checking on the Knight Hennessy scholarship, which is from Stanford, and looking at your GPA and looking at the university that is being advertised or you want to apply to was really, it made me feel like these opportunities are not mine. So, but the good thing that came up with the Knight Hennessy scholarship is it opened me up like to these countries. So I started now looking deeper into what is required for the Knight Hennessy scholarship. So looking into what was being required for the Knight Hennessy scholarship, I had qualified like whatever that they were asking. I had my second upper division from Kenya, which is like a GPA of 3.0 out of 4 and above. So I had that qualification, and I also had like the documents that they were asking, those ones I could get them easily. So the difficulty part now with this one was it needed me to like pay an application fee, which was $125 from the developing countries, and you don't have a job. This is something that is so high for you, like you can't raise that amount of money. So so I started looking on what they wanted, like the Knight Hennessy scholarship. So there was the scholarship part where you apply to the scholarship and you also apply to the university. And for you to get the scholarship, you have to be accepted by the university. If you're not accepted by the university, you can't get the scholarship. So actually what this meant to me is I have to strive to be admitted to Stanford so that I can apply to so that I can get this scholarship. And then I asked myself, like, what about those people who are getting admitted to Stanford? And because Stanford admits so many applicants, and the people who are needed for those scholarships are like 80 to 100 by then. So it came to hit me like there are so many people who will be accepted to Stanford and they'll get funding, but they won't get the scholarship. So I started now looking, how are these people who are going to Stanford without the scholarships are being funded? So that is when now it opened up, and I was curious, like, how are these people getting funded? Because they are not getting the scholarship, and they are not when they are going to Stanford, they are not spending their own money to study in Stanford. So I went all around YouTube trying to like look up on videos on the Knight Hennessy scholarship, on studying abroad. And this is where now I always tell people, like, it's good to keep searching on these search engines, keep searching on these social media platforms. It's because like they are like reading your mind. Because the more I was searching on YouTube, I was searching on Google, now it suggested, like, YouTube started suggesting videos, and it's through these videos that my eyes were opened, and I could see that people are getting admitted to university as graduate students, and they're not going into this university with scholarships like the scholarship that we are used to. We are used to Rhodes Scholarship, we are used to Chevening Scholarship, we are used to Mastercard Foundation, we are used to Knight Hennessy. These kind of scholarships that we know, people are getting admitted to these universities, but they are not using this scholarship that we traditionally know. So there must be a method that these people are getting funded, because they are not spending their own money in these universities. That is when now I came to learn of forms of funding, like the videos that were being suggested to me. They were from international students and students who had made it to these universities, and they were trying to like explain how they are being funded, how their education is being funded. So from these, then I came to learn like there are different forms of funding that I could get to join these universities, and these forms of funding were through assistantships, because like so many people were being funded through these platforms and they were leaving their own countries, they were coming to study in the United States. And so through that curiosity of checking on how people were being admitted as graduate assistants and being funded, that is when like I learned so many things. I connected to so many people. Like I could look at somebody's video online and try to connect with this individual in platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook, and I could write them like a message and ask them this and that. So I connected to, through that I connected to so many people. I connected to people from India, some friends from Ghana, others from Nigeria, and I thank the power of social media. And through that, like I made like a network and a community from the comfort of my home. That is like in 2020. And these people were motivating. And most people who are studying abroad, especially those who have come from third world countries, from Africa, India, or like countries that other countries are towards to coming to study like abroad, they are so helpful and they are willing and they have the heart to help other people or other students. Because it was like for almost like all people I was writing to, almost all of them were replying to me, and they were almost all of them were giving me solutions to the problems that I had then. Thank you very much for staying in the show up to this point. Please, a quick one. I have one small request for you. Please subscribe to this channel. Surprisingly, 72% of our viewers haven't subscribed yet. By subscribing, you not only support the show, but also ensure that you never miss out on the valuable content. I promise to do everything in my power to ensure that the content we deliver serves as a guiding light in your journey towards future opportunities. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Thank you. So I connected to these people, and by 2020 COVID, like 2020, that is in August or so, like COVID-19 like came, the things started to open up, and schools, people started going to schools. So we went back to our school undergraduate. We finished our final semester, our final exams, and now we finished the exams and I was to graduate. So I was waiting for my graduation. That was in 2021. So from then, like, now that I had been fired up, I had gotten that motivation, I had connected to these people, and now I was motivated. I had known like there are assistantships out there, and there are like positions that you can apply to so many universities. You don't need like the traditional scholarships that we needed, like the MasterCard Foundation or the other scholarships for you to get admitted to the United States. So I was fired up. I was motivated. I knew that I had a community around me. Whatever document that I'll have problems and difficulties in writing, I've got these people who I've connected to, and some of them are in Stanford, some of them. And when you connect, if you want to go to some of these universities, it's good like to connect to individuals who are already in those places that you want to go and study. And that is why I reached out to these people. So from the comfort of my home, I had connected to people in Harvard. I had connected to people in Stanford. I had gotten like one of the people who was so helpful to me, who had won the Rhodes Scholarship from Oxford. So these were minds and brains that helped me like know how the world around me is, how like the standards that have been set there in the world. So these are like people from top universities. These are top brains. So if you're writing down a document and you want it to be edited, you can send it to like 2 or 3 of them and get their inputs and views from them, and they could help you come up with so like documents that were so good. They could help you like know how to connect to these professors and opportunities. So coming back to 2021, it started like in January. Now I have gotten this motivation, and I'm ready now to start hunting for scholarship. Remember that I was learning how like scholarships work, and how people are getting funding. So I have known that people are getting funding through the assistantships, but now where are you going to get these assistantships from? Now then, in 2021, after completing my undergraduate, waiting for graduation, so I started the hunt. And the hunt for scholarship is so discouraging. The hunt for positions for these graduate schools may be discouraging, and it happened to me because I could look at, so this is where I started looking at, because I had known that you can work directly towards your getting your graduate scholarship directly through the university website. So my interest was not using like there are those agencies, or there are those people who are there like in the middle who can help you like get these scholarships. So I was working towards I was checking in these university websites. So I did not know so many universities in the United States, but I knew the states, like the states in the United States. So I knew the names of the states, most of them, but I did not know the universities. So I could, because then I had a lot of free time. I was not employed. No job. I was doing no job, and I was waiting for my graduation. I was a freelancer, and I spent most of the time, and this helped me a lot. When you are a freelancer, you're spending most of your time in front of the computer, and you are doing these article writings. You've got those skills, so you can quickly take your time and look at opportunities online. So I could sit down, like I could dedicate a number of hours in my day, and I had a notebook. I could sit down and list a state. Like, let's say I'll go with one state, let's say Alabama, and I could Google like a list of universities in Alabama. There are so many of them, so it could start like the public universities, the private universities, and I'll write like all of them, like a whole list, like let's say 50 schools. And then in these 50 schools, I could Google, like, let's say Alabama State. I don't know if it exists, but Alabama State University graduate school admission. So once you Google like the graduate school admission, it takes you like to the graduate school. So in the graduate school, you'll get the programs that are being offered. You'll get the admission requirement for international students. And then now you could go to the program websites. By then I was checking on microbiology because that is what I had done. So I was looking at masters in microbiology or graduate student opportunities in microbiology. And this is the reason why I could do a lot of listing of these universities, is that if I have like a list of 100 universities, there are some of them that are asking for things that I don't have. Those ones I could put them out. Let's say by then I did not have a job. So if a university is asking for a document, let's say transcript evaluation, and I don't have the money to do that, I could take it out of that list. If a university is asking for a standardized test like GREs, and I don't have the money to go ahead and do it, I will take that one out. Some universities could not waive the English test. They needed me to do TOEFL or IELTS. I could take all those universities out of the list. That is why I could spend a lot of time looking at so many universities, 100 universities almost in a day, almost 100 universities or even more in a day. But at the end of the day, I have narrowed down to like 5 universities. The reason is, like, from this broad list, you get to take out so many universities because by then you are limited. You've not done all these tests, and the reason why I had not done them, and if you have the money and you have got the time, you can go ahead and do all those tests because they put you at an advantage of being selected, and they put you at a good position in that you can apply to so many universities. You will not be looking at 100 universities, and out of 100 universities you are only picking 2 universities. That is important. If you've got the money to do it, you can go ahead and do them. So when I was checking all these universities, something stood out for me, and this is something that I did not know. Like, some of the requirements that were there, like, at first I was not checking on PhD positions. I was checking only on like the master's positions because, like, from back home, like where, let's say you want to, it's hard to get somebody who's doing a PhD from bachelor's. So I knew, like, for you to do a PhD, you have to get a master's first, then you get you go to a PhD. But I felt like something was not right. Why is it that there are very few master's positions, especially in the sciences and the research field, and there are so many PhD positions? As I was checking through these requirements to get the PhD, I noticed that there was no requirement for you to get to have a master's for you to do a PhD, but most of the minimum requirements were you have to have a bachelor's degree and a GPA of 3.0 for you to get a PhD position in these universities. Then it hit me, like, in the United States, most of the PhD, especially in the research field, can be gotten even without a master's. So, like, I learned during the hunt for this position, I learned a lot of things. So that the hunt continued, like, from the month of January, February, then it reached the month of April. I graduated, and then from the graduation, I still kept on, like, looking at these universities. But with this, like, you've started so well, you are passionate and you have that motivation of doing these applications. But at the end, like in the month of June or so, my motivation started going down. Like, you've been doing that, you've looked on all these schools, you've been checking them, you've been looking at them. So my motivation, like, started going down. The psych was not so strong like the beginning of the year. So, like, everything started going down. And this is where, like, it's important that you build that community, because when my motivation and the psych went down for going for these opportunities, because I had created a network of individuals in my social media platforms, LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook or YouTube, I could, once I was logged into these platforms, an opportunity could pop up, like you get an opportunity for scholarship applying to this PhD position here. You've got this somebody who is explaining about, and these ones, like, could bring back that hope. And most of the time I could screenshot these positions so that I could check them later on. And so many of them I did not even check them. Once the psych for doing something is gone, like, it's somehow very hard for you to bring it back. So I don't know how, but this happens to so many people who are seeking these opportunities. You start well, you want to go ahead and do so many applications, but, like, for some reason or so, you find yourself you're not doing that for the longest period possible, and your psych again comes up and then it disappears. So that is what happened to me. I could screenshot these positions or these opportunities, but I could not go back and concentrate and get these positions. So that is in the month of June, July, and August. Now all that psych was gone, but I knew, like, most of the applications will start in the month of October, November, and December. So in the back of my mind, because I had been writing the qualifications I had been writing the qualifications, the eligibility criteria, and most universities that I was writing deadlines. So I had written deadlines for these universities. And then something quick that I was doing during that period, and this, I think this is what brought my motivation down. I started doing cold emails after, like, knowing how cold emails can give you these opportunities and scholarships. I've explained all those in some of my videos in my channel, so you can check them out. I started writing cold emails to so many professors, asking them if I could work with them, and most of these cold emails were coming out as negative. Let me say, call it it's not reject, but it's kind of rejection. So these cold emails are the ones that made, like, I felt these positions, I'm not going to get them. So that is one of the things that I was doing. And some of the professors what I did not know is that during that period, most professors are waiting for results from grants. That is when results for grants are coming in. So towards the end of the year or towards the start of the next academic year, most professors have known like have they gotten grants? Are they adding other students? So I did not understand this. This is so helpful. You have to like know what time of the year that grants results for grants come in, and professors have gotten those grants and they may accept other students into their programs because they already have got these grants. So by then that is the month of August 2021. I was going like I could still go through these social media platforms. Then I came across a post from an individual who I had followed, because when I was starting, like I was following so many people from different universities, and I came across like a person from the University of British Columbia postdoc who had posted like Purdue University was going to host a graduate expo, and people who are going to attend this graduate expo are going to get like their application fee waived. And application fee is one of the barriers for applying, because this money is a lot, especially when you are converting it from your home currency into dollars. It's a lot of money that most people can't afford. So that was a good opportunity for me to attend this graduate expo and get my application fee for applying to Purdue University waived. That is how like I came to. So I screenshot that opportunity and kept it back, and still went on with my life. And I was still hunting for a job back home and trying to reach out to so many people for opportunities, but my psych wasn't like at the beginning of the year. So the months went by, August went, October. So towards the end of October, I was going through my phone and the pictures and that screenshot came up. Then I remembered that I have to attend this opportunity. Luckily, the deadline had not passed, and I kept that in my calendar. In such a date in November, I have to attend that graduate expo. So it reached that November. I attended the graduate expo. It was an interactive. Graduate expos are sessions, and most universities host these sessions. They are called graduate expos or open house. A university can host it, or a department can host one. So it's good to, this is one of the things that I learned. It's good to watch out on these events, because they help you know about the department, know about how to apply to these departments. And these graduate expos give you benefit, like you can get your application fee waived. You can get so many waived, and your application to this university can be stronger. And you can interact with somebody in that graduate expo, and they get to like you, and they might accept you to be one of their team. And this is some way in which you can get this opportunity. So I attended this event, and this event was like the eye opener for me, because it showed me some of the things that happen in the United States, and it rekindled like that motivation of doing that application. I got to hear from students from these universities, and the desire of me joining them started to come back again, and I was motivated to start doing the application again. So after attending that graduate expo, I knew like I knew now I had to like start doing the application. So there's this thing that most of us have, and I used to have it. Like most people who want to get these opportunities also have it. It's like, when you're going for these opportunities, it's like you're going to war, and in war you have to have good preparation, and you have to have weapons. For you to win in this war, you have to have weapons. And it's very hard for you to win the scholarship war without weapons. And by weapons, I mean like the documents. Those are the only weapons that you have. You are talking to people who don't know you and who are very far. And the only way that these people can know about you, like the only way that you are competing with other applicants in the world, like you are trying to outdo them, is by what you are writing, what you have, like what you have in written form. So I wanted to get positions in these universities, motivated, and I don't have the weapons, which are the documents that I needed. I had no CV, I had no statement of purpose, I had no anything, and all around the year I've been yearning and getting the scholarship in my mind, but literally like in paper I have done nothing. So, and this is, when I look back, this was the thing that was holding me back and made my motivation to go down. Like, you'll not be motivated if you're not making that application, and you cannot make that application without documents. So I did not have any documents by then. So then I decided to try it to one university. There was some universities have got their deadlines so early, others have got their deadlines like towards the end of the year, or some even have their deadlines in the next year, like January or towards the end of January. So there is one that had its deadline in November. So this is the one that I focused on. Through that university, I started developing documents. So the document part is somehow a tricky part, because this part now, you have to be, you are not competing with your fellow classmates or your fellow college mates in campus, or even your fellow countrymen or local. Like, this is an world-class competition. It's an international competition where you are competing for opportunities in some of the top universities with people all over the world. So your documents like have to be top-notch, and you have to write them in a particular way so that you can show like you can show your capabilities, you can show your intellect, and you can show like your almost everything. So I did not know how to write these documents, and the good thing is, when I never knew how to do something, the social media platforms and the network that I had built from individuals from these top universities was very helpful. Like, I had friends, I had built friends from Harvard, I had built friends from Oxford, these Rhodes scholars from Oxford, the Knight Hennessy scholars from Stanford, and these people were helping me. And most of these people are so good. They reply to emails, they reply to you, they can spare some time and talk to you about these opportunities. And they're just like clicks away, or you don't need to travel to Oxford to meet them. You can talk to them through the phone. And these are the people who helped me in writing my documents. I remember, like, I did not know how to write these documents. I had told a friend of mine who was in one of these top universities, please send me some of the documents that you had used to apply. Then the friend sent me one of their some of the documents that they use in their applications. I read them, and when I looked at them and looked at what I have like in my files, okay, I was like, am I really up for this task? Because what I have written about myself and what other people are writing out there about themselves, they're totally different things, and we can't move to the direction of fighting for the same positions with these people, because eventually they are going to get these positions. So from then now, I started to like write my documents very well, write a good statement of purpose, write a good CV, write everything good. And the good thing is, I had these people, like, they were part of my team. They were helping me to get this trophy, which is the scholarship. And they were there ready to like help me, so I could write the documents and send to these people. And the people were very helpful. They could make edits, they could correct where they needed to correct. But it's also, they can only correct, but you are the brain of these documents, so you know where to like fit in all the information. So they were so helpful. They corrected my documents. From then now, I had my CV, I had my everything. So one thing I was missing, and I say that it's one of the hardest documents to write, is the letters of references. Because letters of references are written by somebody else, and the weight that a CV carries is more than, like, the letter of reference carries a lot of weight, because it is somebody else you've worked with, and this person is talking about you to somebody who you are going to work with, like this letter of reference is the other person telling this other person that I worked with this person and I liked this person because of this and that and that. Yeah, the person who you are applying to can pick you, but this other person helps this person to know more about you and to know that they can work together with you, and it helps a lot in them picking you. So traditionally, I knew like letters of references, they only like comprised of those headings like to whom it may concern, and the person who's writing the letter of reference writes like you are a good person, you are good to work with, you are a person who can easily learn, you can be corrected, you don't complain, you don't do that. So that is what I knew like a letter of reference looks like. But when I looked at documents that were sent to me by these individuals on how to do the applications, it came to hit me like every word in a document, or let's say letter of reference, counts, because what these other people are writing about these people in their letters of references, it was something that these people are writing good. I can't say fancy, but they were writing good things and things that could reflect on the capability of this individual, their intellect, their ability to lead teams, like their research capabilities, what they have done, what they have achieved. So it was something that is detailed. So that is when I started like being serious with the letters of references, and I wanted to get like good referees who could write me good letters of references. And this happens because mind you that this is a team that you're going to war. This is like a war, and you have to get the best team. So there is something that comes up. If somebody is not ready to write you like a good letter of reference, it's good that you drop that person, because even one person in your team can cause you not to win that war and not get that opportunity. So there are some referees that I had to drop because I was talking to them and telling them that I've read like opportunities out there, they are competitive, and it's good to like write your it is good like to write your letters of reference in a particular manner so that you can be able to like get these opportunities. So I had to drop some of them, and I remember I had a problem with one of them because he did not know how to put in, because the university that I was applying to needed him to use like an application portal where he could upload his letter of reference, and then he could also like do some evaluations over there about me. So he didn't know how to do it, and he got so mad, but eventually I dropped him and got other people who are going to be my referees. So it's good like to come up with a good team, because I did not drop only him, but I ended up dropping like all the other people who I reached out first, and I thought that they were going to be good referees to me. I ended up dropping them. I know there are people who you are thinking that are going to be good referees, but they may turn out not to be good. So it's good like to start it early. So from then now, that is the month of like November. Towards the end of November, I applied to that one university, and the good thing is that that university helped me out because it enabled me to come up with documents and come up like it becomes very easy when you've already done one application. It's very easy for you to go ahead and do other applications, because you like have known how the process goes. You'll have known how to use application portals. Like it becomes very easy because you already have the documents. The only thing that is remaining is that you'll be customizing these documents so that they fit to your other they fit into the other things that you'll be they'll be able to fit into the other universities that you'll be applying to, depending on the program that you're applying to. So it is from then now I had attended to Purdue's Graduate Expo. And the good thing is that this Graduate Expo helped me a lot, because it is through this Graduate Expo that I was able to apply to so many universities. I went to this Graduate Expo thinking that it's only Purdue that is participating, but the Graduate Expo was a Big Ten event. What do I mean by Big Ten? In universities, the United States, universities are like these universities are like, they form conferences, and this conference, there are different types of conferences. Like there's a famous one called Ivy Leagues. Ivy League is the conference for universities that are in the eastern part of United States. That is like Harvard, Princeton, and so many. And there is also another one that is called Big Ten Alliance, which are universities that are towards the east, and so many other universities that include Purdue, University of Maryland, Ohio State University, Michigan State. So all those have got like a conference. So this Big Ten Expo was for all those universities, and almost all those universities waived application fees for me because I had attended this virtual event. That is how strong some of these graduate expos are. And through that, I applied to Purdue, and I applied to all these other universities, including the university that I am in. And the good thing is that these universities, after you've attended that event, they reach out to you and they tell you that because you've applied to this university, you can also apply to, because you've attended this event, you can apply to our university for free. That is how most of them reached out to me. But for the University of Maryland, where currently I am, they did not reach out to me. But when I was checking out some of the criteria that they use to give application fee waivers, I found out that if you've attended the Graduate Expo event at Purdue University, you can be able to get like this fee of yours waived. That is how I was able to like apply to University of Maryland. So after doing applications to these universities, I decided that I was going to reach out to a number of the professors who are in these universities, because it is good to shoot cold emails. So I decided that I was going to shoot cold emails to different professors in these universities. So I started writing emails to some professors who I had seen their profile, and they were good enough. They were professors who I could work with. So I wrote to a number of them, and most of them were telling me that they were not ready to have students in their labs. So from then now, I decided I was going to. From then now, after doing these applications, I started waiting. The year started very well, the next year, because in the first day of the year, that is on the 1st of 2022, I received this email telling me that congratulations, you've been selected to you have been invited for an interview in Purdue University. And I was so happy. I had started the year very well. I told some of the people who are my mentors, and I told them that I've gotten this interview, and they were so happy. They told me that is starting the year in good footing, and I was happy. So I prepared for that interview. I remember the interview it was so good. We had 3 sessions of interviews. There's one where we were with other applicants who had applied, almost 70 of them from different countries across the world. And we had people from China, we had people from the United States, UK, and you're there interacting with these minds. And for me, I had already gotten that scholarship even before I had been given the offer letter. And I had shared with my parents, shared with my friends, told them that this year I will be leaving the country, going to study in the United States. So it's I had already gotten the scholarship. So after the interviews, I had asked when are the results going to come. So I was told they were to come at the end of the month of January. So after the month of January had elapsed and I had not gotten any feedback, so I was curious, have I been selected? Then I contacted this coordinator who was telling us when the results are going to come. And the coordinator was good, and he wrote back immediately. He told me, okay, thank you for reaching out, and we've because now you've asked, let me tell you, we were to send out these offer letters later this week, but now that you've asked, let me give you the results. And sorry that we had so many applicants than the positions, and unfortunately you've not been selected. I remember that time it was in the evening and I was in the library, and because I was doing some work in the library, I literally like crushed me. My heart was broken. It was like an opportunity that I had gotten, and the opportunity had been taken away, and I felt like, so my dreams are not going to come through. And it was a heartbreaking moment. I remember that evening I felt so bad. I reached out to my family. They were comforting me, but I could hear their voices. They were also like heartbroken. My friends, like, it was a heartbreak to me. And before that, like, there were universities during the interview session, like, there were universities that I was getting rejections from them, but I didn't care about them because I thought that I had already gotten this opportunity from Purdue University. And it was really a very low moment in my life. I remember it demoralized me, and I felt like I should now stop seeking these scholarship opportunities, and went and started looking for jobs, started applying for jobs. And in from like I started getting rejections. All the universities I had applied for, like 10 rejections came, then another 3 rejections came in the next week. So it was all about like rejections coming in. Then in the month of February of that year 2022, I got a job offer, and it was a job that I did not like doing, but I had no option because I wanted to go and do that job and get the money. So I went ahead and took up that position. When I was doing this job, I was doing the job, but my mind was in this heartbreak that I had gotten. I couldn't like accept it for the longest time possible, and I kept hoping that they were going to change their mind so that they could give me the application. They could give me, like, I remember I wrote to some of the professors there. I told the professor, now I really intended to come and work with you, so what has happened? The professor told me that she told me that it's a committee that decides, and once the committee has made a decision, the decision cannot be swayed. So I accepted it and went ahead, got rejections. I only got 1 master's, but it did not come with funding. So all the rejections, one university put me into 2020 to get in fall 2023. That was in 2024, so it was like a wait until 2023. So I went on about with my job, and everything eventually, with time, everything came to normal, and I had moved on. So it was like in the month of April had gone. So after April, it's very hard for you to like get an acceptance from any university, because by the month of April, you've already known where you stand. So towards the end of May, I got like an email from my university where I am. It was like, we've seen your application. It's a very good application, and we really do not want to let it go. What we'll do is like, we're going to give you an offer. So I got that offer, and then I did not know if I'm going to get funding, but funding came in, and at the month of May, I was happy and started like working towards this. Though this time around, I did not tell like anybody. I did not tell my parents. I did not tell my friends. So I kept it to myself for some time. Then with time now, I started to like give them little bit of it. And I made sure that steps ahead. So if I've already gotten this document, I'm telling them that is the time I've gotten the admission. So I made sure that because it was really a disappointment from the first one that I had gotten. It really disappointed all of us, and I did not want that disappointment again. So then I started working on my visa. I remember like during that time, visas it was very hard for you to get like a visa slot, because COVID-19 had come in, and there were a lot of backlogs, and I had to like work very fast so that I could get the visa, because sometimes some of the scholarships you might lose them because you don't get the visa. But I reached out to my university, and they were good, and they told me that if you don't get the visa, then we can defer your position so that you can start in January. But I tried to like get my visa expedited, to get an expedited one, but it was declined. I felt bad because you can only try once. Now my chance had gone and I couldn't do any expedition again for my visa. So I had to wait like it couldn't be expedited again. So I had to wait to my visa appointment, which was February the next year, and I was supposed to like report to January. That yeah, I was to report to August. So and this is why I say like you should have a community of these people that you've connected with, because they'll help you. They're going to help you in so many things. If you meet an obstacle, there's one of them who might know like how to deal with this obstacle. So I talked to one of my friend who was here in the United States, and he told me that let me send you an email that you can write to these people. And he sent me the email and he told me what to write and whatever things that I wrote and explaining to these people. And eventually I got a slot the following week, because I told them what I'm going to lose and I really needed to start my studies during that time. And that is how I came and got I got the slot and then went in for the visa interview. I prepared because the visa is like almost everything, and you really need to like prepare very well. I did not know if I'm going to get it, because you can get the admission, yes, but if you've not gotten the visa, then it becomes very hard for you to get to the country that you want to go and study in. So I prepared for the visa. Then the interview day came. I went in. There were so many long queues. I got nervous on the queues and in the queues, and there were so many people in there. Others who were doing like some discussion outside there, and my time came. I went into the counter. So it was surprising to me, because I thought I was going to sit down like on a table and talk to these people. They interview me for like 10 minutes or so. Like I thought it was going to be like an interrogation, sit in this side, the other person sits on the other side, so they talk to you. So I went in there, and it was like a bank teller, window, and the person told me to pass the documents. I passed the documents, and what surprised me is like the interview took like 40 seconds or so. So the person told me, where are you going? Told to this university. What are you going to do? Before I was done, what are you going to do? Answering what are you going to do? The person told me the visa officer told me your visa has been approved. And from then, like I was surprised, so easy like that. What did I say? Like I thought it was something that he was going to. Is it so easy like that? Is it easy for everyone? So I didn't know like why that fast, but I got my visa, and it was to be mailed in 2 to 3 days. I got the visa stamped on my passport, and I started now like preparing to leave the country and come to the United States for my studies. So I did my preparation, then left my country, had my advisor pick me from the airport to my area of residence, trying to adjust to this new country, and so many things that happened, like adjusting to the new country. But it is an opportunity that I say it is a worth taking opportunity, because there are so many things that have happened to my life. There are so many people that I've met that I would not have met where if I could not have come to this country. There are so many like new things that I've learned. There are so many things that these are some of the opportunities that you should really like strive to get, because they are life-changing opportunities. And it's good to like have a team and people who motivate you when you don't really feel like you have to like move on and get these opportunities. Because if I could not be having like a network of individuals who are already in these countries who are motivating me like to move forward, it could have been very hard for me to move ahead and get this opportunity. And it's also good to like try so many universities, because you should apply to as many as you can. I applied to as many as I could. If I had only applied to like 2 or 3 and not get admission to those universities, then I could not have gotten it. But because I had like broadened my schools, there I applied to so many schools, I was able to get one towards the end. And also there are some schools that I applied on the deadline day, and like this one that I am in, I applied on the deadline day and I got the scholarship. So it is sometimes important to like apply to so many schools and have a good strong team. Make sure that you have the weapons, which are the documents, and always remember, like if you don't make a try, you've got 0 chances of being selected. So it is good to, even if you feel like you don't stand a chance to get admitted, give it that try, and you never know, you can be selected. And I know friends who applied to one university and they were lucky to be admitted to that one university, but you have to be strong. Because I remember I wasn't so strong like in my application, because I had gotten a second lower, which is not not a bad GPA, but it was not super high like other people. And also my research experiences and some of my experiences were not so strong like other people. I did not have good grades like other better positioned applicants. So if you're good, like you've got good grades, you've got a good research experience, you've got like some training, so you can apply to a few. But if you are not so good, like you're not the best of the best, and you should try to apply to as many as you can. So all the best in all those who are trying, and subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to have like so many guests who are coming to give their experiences, and through these experiences you may learn 1 or 2 things that may be of help to you. So subscribe to this channel, and also let me hear from you through the comments down below. So thank you very much for listening to me.